Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for our team from the Global Green Growth Institute. You didn't tell us, are you an Arsenal fan or you're another? So you're like me, and we're dealing with a manager who we are not so sure is up for the job, all right? Okay. So we want to thank you so much, and very shortly, if you've noticed, we should have our chief guest join us. And as soon as she joins us, we will be able to formally start with the anthems. So whoever is responsible for our anthems, please line up our anthems. We have both the Ugandan anthem and the East African anthem. And we also have a virtual audience that is joining us, and I want to welcome you, the virtual audience. We'll have a couple of presentations which will be done virtually, and we'll have a panel discussion that will include questions that will come from the virtual audience also. And as Ms. Zwebe said, in case there are questions, she's here with us, or for her team. Later on in our plenary discussion, we should be having questions for Zwebe and the team and any other presenters here. I also did notice a short while ago our other state minister for trade who joined us, and we will be recognizing her when she arrives with our chief guest. So when we get our chief guest arriving, we'll all arise, of course, and then have the anthems, and then quickly run into our program. So I want to just prepare you for that. Thank you very much. this morning amidst her very, very busy schedule. Your Excellency, the Vice President, may I also recognize our ministers, the Honorable Minister of State for Trade, the Honorable David Bahati, who is here with us, for Industry, who is here with us, and also the Minister of State for Trade, the Honorable Harriet Tabazi, who is here with us. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. In a special way, recognize our Permanent Secretary, Ms. Geraldine Sally, who is here. Our chief guest, the Honorable Melia Chambade, is here, the former Minister of Trade and Industry and Cooperatives. The Honorable Melia, thank you so much for joining us. We have the President of the Uganda National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Ms. Olive Chigongo, who is here with us, and our partner from the Global Green Growth Institute, Ms. Zwede. Thank you so much for joining us. Among us, Your Excellency, our stakeholders in this industry, we have our development partners, the UNDP and UNIDO, and various partners, including the European Union, who are here in this room and helped us fund part of the projects that we will be launching today. We have the Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies, and as I mentioned, the Global Green Growth Institute, the Uganda Investment Authority, UNBS, the National Planning Authority, Uganda Development Corporation, and the Uganda Manufacturers Association. Also among us, the UN family, sometimes when we say UNDP, we forget some of our partners under the fraternity of the UN. Both UNIDO and the UNCDF are represented here, and I want in a very special way to thank you for working with the ministry on this project. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, before I continue and look like I'm done reading the speech, allow me to invite the Permanent Secretary, who will make welcome remarks, and then I'll ask a member of the UN family to come and speak to us. So you're most welcome, Ms. Geraldine Sally.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Minister of Trade, Industries and Cooperatives, Honorable Members of Parliament, development partners, representatives of the private sector, academia, government officials, members of the media fraternity, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to tell you that we have the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda in the House, all protocols observed. I warmly welcome you all to this function. It's it's my maiden Industrialization Commemoration Day as PS of Trade. And I'm so pleased to actually see a lady as Vice President again. When I see moments like these, I actually grow goosebumps quietly. So I really want to thank the President for getting the ladies on board this time round in full blast. And we are very proud of you, Your Excellency. Now, I'm not going to say much because most of these things that we are discussing have been discussed. But most importantly, I would like to thank the partners who have come on board to take this journey with us. The journey of promotion of inclusive and sustainable local manufacturing. For us, this is very important because we are a young nation in terms of economic growth. The developed countries where GGGI is coming from and Mr. Ron is coming from have gone through their first industrialization revolution. They've gone through the second, the third, they're probably on the fourth now. But we are a young nation. So when we talk about sustainable development, some of us have an idea, but we have not incorporated it in our own agenda while we are doing our industrialization. So when they are coming on board and they are bringing on all these concepts, we are on phase one of integrating these concepts into our industrialization agenda. And I will not lose this opportunity as you development partners to ask you, in 2000, the European countries were already doing carbon trading. Carbon trading is where the nations with green cover sell off that green capital and get money for it on a stock exchange. It's traded. People buy it, they buy. China, which is highly industrialized with a lot of greenhouse gases, then buys from countries and continents like us who have more green cover. That's what it means. Now, I would like you as our development partners to incorporate that agenda for us as the third world countries so that they can complete the funding ecosystem to improve our industries. If you actually put that as part of your agenda, that will be very helpful, because what we really need is funding, and we have the green cover for free. So I do not know why China cannot come and buy carbon cover from us, because 70% of the sub-Saharan Africa is all green belt. So I didn't want to lose that opportunity as a message to our development partners. So while you're telling us all these good green cover growth and economic growth, please bear that in mind. And I'm hoping that someone will pick it up and engage you on that matter. So please hold our hand on that one. I would like to welcome everybody, but first, UN. UN is doing something very good for us. So while you're taking us as a whole continent under the African Continental Free Trade Area, also take all the other things to do with sustainability in terms of the content, the green content of production. That coming from European countries coming into Africa and other parts of the world, and that leaving Africa. For example, when you're manufacturing your fridges and you're manufacturing these refrigerating units to African countries, please ensure that your compressors do not have disposal gases that are going to ruin our beautiful planet, Africa. Bring user-friendly equipment. So UNBS, I'm happy you're here. And I am hoping that you actually maintain the green standards as well, alongside all the other standards of quality. The same thing with us. When we are exporting, actually for us, we are organic. We are actually bringing you goodness into Europe. We are bringing you goodness into America and all the rest of the world, because that's what we are. We are green. We have green capital. The other thing which I wanted to talk about was the inclusive promotion of inclusive manufacturing. When we are talking about inclusive manufacturing, it means that I can actually get all those people, all those youth in Zambia, the ones you see opposite the American embassy, and I can actually give them a space in one of our industrial parks, and they come and manufacture large scale and compete with the Chinese products on the market. And we give them a space, and we formalize the arrangements with government, and they produce en masse. And they are employed, and we are taking youth off the streets. So that agenda, we are going to do policies that are going to take our youth off the streets and put them into formalized employment and income generating activities for our country under the industry agenda. Then, while we are thinking about the disposals and the growth of industry, I would like to also, when we are talking about the whole revolution, first industrialization revolution all the way up to the fourth, where we started with the fossil fuels, yeah, we had so many dinosaurs long ago, and yes, people used to use all that. It was not friendly. It emits a lot of carbon and kills everything else. But it simply means that we are taking our industries into a place where we are using renewable energy. This term renewable energy is simply saying the less you use of fumes that destroy our cover, the better while you're doing manufacturing. The less you pollute our rivers and lakes, the better while you're doing your manufacturing. So, also to us and our development partners, as we are doing regulations, we should also do green audits. It's very important, because while you're actually producing, I would like to know that Mukwano has been audited, that when he's producing his soap and everything else, which is right next to the Nachivubo River, that he's not polluting into it and people are actually drinking from it, and then he's producing all the fumes and everything else that is going into our food. I would like to know about the green audits. So while you're actually working with us, we want you to take the higher macro agenda, the green agenda on our development. So please take on those two things as well, and we are happy to partner with you while we are enforcing and ensuring that we are safely manufacturing. I'm not going to go into the fair competition. I'll leave that English for the other people who are going to be doing the paneling, you know, the fair competition and stuff. I would like to really talk about the small scale production, because really people, you don't know, in India, the SMEs are being converted into the manufacturing fraternity. Actually, for them, it's about 75% of their income is generated by 54% of industry, which is really SMEs. You can see India is actually sitting on these small people to drive their economy. And it's all value-driven economy, value chain-driven. So while you're thinking about us as manufacturing, we are happy to value add on our core sectors, which is really agriculture. We are happy to add value so that you're using us as your back garden. We produce for you all the healthy food, organic, but
that's why you see. So where?
Whatever we are expecting, let it be started. Give us a reasonable money which is sufficient enough for us to produce sustainably.
Because if she did copy that, then they should get it.
So on that note, I'm going to close with my opening remarks. So let me take this opportunity officially to thank all those development partners that have supported us in organizing this function. I would like to thank my team, led by Mr. Ayenio and Grace of the Ministry of Trade. Please stand up for recognition. I would like you and your team to stand up. Whatever has come up, I take responsibility as your captain. That we shall talk when we get back to office. And please sit down. And then I would also like to thank all those members from GPI, which is the Green Growth Partners Institute, United Nations, Development Organization. That is the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. I would like to thank Professor Strategic Studies, and Southern Range Nyanza Limited. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming and for all of my time.
Another round of applause for our permanent secretary. Thank you very much for your opening remarks. And we'll now quickly move to our partners. And I want to request Bruno also from here to come and also let you know that later the chief guest will be launching our database, and of course the several other activities that will be happening shortly after. I just wanted to let our partner audience know that while you may be enjoying us online, the content we're also sharing is coming to you and we'll try and stream all the content directly to you during this project. You're welcome. Thank you.
It's filling Zoom.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Vice President of the Republic of Rwanda, the Honorable Minister of senior government officials, the lawyers, ladies and gentlemen, it's the great honor standing before you for you today. You know the word is great. I don't have much to say, but to start with, I want to thank you for honoring this day. I'm very proud with the kind of the people that we have with us. Just a few years ago, my sister here, whom we have been working very, very for many years. You know where we started with the AID celebration. One day we were in Ginger and walking the street and people said, what are these people doing? And I think this was one of the things that pushed them to say, let's put industrialisation agenda. And that's started. So I want to thank you all for that great job that you are listening to
here today, and of course, all our partners, my friends from Yuri, from Oman, all that. I think that has been a good job, really. Seriously, I did not expect to make a speech, but let me say something little. Ladies and gentlemen, just a quick reminder. My sister just mentioned, just slightly 50 years ago, by the way. Are you aware that 1 in every 3 persons in the world was poor? Yes. Whether you go to the developed countries like the US, you go to Europe, or you go to Southeast Asia, there's just one thing that counted in the achievement of human development. It was about industrialization. No? The fact that industrialization is an effective poverty reduction tool cannot be overemphasized. As I said just slightly 40 years ago, 1 in 3 persons in the world was poor. And as you look at those countries who attain advanced human development, such as the US, Europe, and the tiger countries, it was industrialization that drove their development agenda and human development. However, the argument has always been industrialization and environmental sustainability. We are aware of the fact that industrial activities, such as manufacturing, has a heavy footprint on our environment. The good news is that we now have appropriate technology to address the industrial advancement and environmental sustainability together. We, as UNIDO, as the specialized agency of the United Nations that promotes industrial, inclusive and sustainable industrial development, we believe that green growth in developing countries is possible. So today is a special day for many of us in this journey. Industrialization is not a UN agenda. It is a government of Uganda agenda. And we are here to support you in this journey. And we want to thank you for the cordial and great partnership that we have enjoyed all through the time that we have been working with you. And as I said, this journey is about partnership. And certainly, you know, partnership built on trust and transparency among the partners. Excellency, we are glad that the government adopted the BUBU policy, which was championed by, again, my sister here, Honorable Major, present here. BUBU resonates perfectly with this year's AID theme, import replacement and promotion of export. So fast forward, we look forward to support the government implementation of the industrial policy, which was ascended to by His Excellency. We look forward to strengthening our partnership, and I wish you a very, 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 very happy day celebration. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for Bruno and our partners from the UN family. I also want in a very special way to recognize the partners from the European Union, and I think much later Dennis will explain the partnership with the different UN family members and of course the European Union. May I now invite our Minister of State for Trade, and Industry, Minister of State for Industry, the Honorable David Bahati, to come and make his remarks. You're most welcome, Honorable Minister.
for Uganda National Bureau of Standards, and we are committed to making sure that whatever is produced in Uganda is of quality and is of standard. What we have to replace in the country, the bill of 7.3 billion, things that we are importing now stand at 7.3 billion. This is the task that we have to make sure that all what we are importing is replaceable. So, Your Excellency, this is the context of the day. And then finally, you'll be able to launch the manufacturing, the green strategy, which we have developed. We think that as we move on the path of industrialization, we want to avoid the challenges other developed countries have faced. When you will now go to Beijing, like at this time, the whole city is like in the underground pollution. We want to make sure that that is avoided. And therefore, that's why we are launching the green strategy. Can I request members to put our hands to appreciate the presence of Her Excellency the President at this very important day of industrialization. And take this senior honor to invite you to come and address us.
All our government partners present, representatives from ministries, departments and agencies, manufacturers, the academia, society organizations, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, allow me to thank you, Madam Peers and your ministers, for a very important factor that even was observed by my protocol team this morning of keeping time. She had told me that before you come to the ceremony, you first handle this assignment, handle the other, and also by the time you finish, I'm sure they will be ready. But as I was beginning to handle the assignment she had asked me to do, she said, Your Excellency, this team has beaten me this time. They are on time, and you have to come straight to their physical presence. So I had to rush and come. So I don't take that very lightly, because as Africans, we normally think that we have our own time. And yet, the